Hey there, good to see you. Today in this video, we are going to take a look at what's new in Photo AI from Topaz Labs. There is a new V2 version of the software that just recently came out. And if you're not familiar with Photo AI, this is desktop software for macOS and Windows that functions either as a standalone application, you can just drag image files directly into it, or you may use it as a plugin for Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop. And this app is, hence its name, Photo AI. This is an AI-driven application that automatically enhances your images by denoising them, by sharpening them, by upscaling them. And as we'll see in this video, there are two additional tools that have recently been added to V2, and we're going to check those out. Before we jump in here though, two things I want to share with you. First, I purchased Photo AI with my own money. Topaz Labs has had no editorial input in this video. Everything you're going to hear in this video is just the honest and unbiased opinion of one person, and that person being me, of course. Second point, the two new features that I'll be demonstrating for you in this video are currently being beta tested. They are in beta, which means that they are unfinished. And as a matter of fact, there's one particular limitation of these tools that's really, really important. That is, at least at the time of this video, not currently available. So let's jump in here and take a look at Photo AI V2. Okay, so this is Adobe Lightroom Classic, obviously not Photo AI, but I'm beginning here because if you are a Lightroom user, it's important to know how to open your raw images in Photo AI because there's two ways to do it. The first way to do it is to just, simply right-click on an image, go to Edit, and then go down to Topaz Photo AI. Now, when you do that, it's going to create a 16-bit TIFF and then open that rasterized TIFF file in Photo AI. The other way is through the File menu. Come up here to File, go to Plugin Extras, and then select Process with Topaz Photo AI. This option will create a copy of your raw image, save it as a DNG file, and then open that DNG file in Photo AI for processing. And then when you're done with Photo AI, then all changes are saved back to that new DNG file that was created. And this is actually a really important thing to know. If you go this route and you do click on Process with Topaz Photo AI, you're going to see this modal here, and it's going to ask you, okay, do you want to edit a copy of this raw image or do you want to overwrite selected? You don't want to click on overwrite selected and replace the raw file that you created with your camera. Like that is one of the most valuable things that you have. You definitely don't want to replace that. You want to click on edit a copy instead, so that then if it doesn't work out, if you don't like the changes, you can just get rid of the copy, you can just delete it, and you are preserving that original raw file. All right, so the two new tools in V2 of Photo AI include Adjust Lighting and Balance Color. Adjust Lighting helps balance the tonal values in your image. For example, if you have an image that's underexposed or like an image that is backlit. This is a really quick image that I took while hiking very, very early in the morning. Let's see what Photo AI can do with it. So we're going to turn on Adjust Lighting. Not bad. This looks actually pretty usable. If we just come in here and take a look at some of the light and some of the tones that are going on here. I bet there's probably some chromatic aberration around this tree here. Yeah, there's definitely some purple fringing going on in this tree because there's just such a harsh and strong difference between the sky and the tree here. And unfortunately, it looks like the built-in camera profiles in Photo AI have not accounted for that, have not fixed that. So that's something I would probably need to take care of elsewhere. But anyway, as far as the light goes, it looks pretty natural, I think. Not too bad. Maybe a little much, maybe a little hot. Obviously, maybe do like a linear gradient here in the foreground in order to darken this down a little bit. But as far as the main subject area back here, I feel like the software is doing a good job of identifying where the areas of the image are that could use some additional light and which areas of the image it should protect, and also just not overdoing it. I mean, this is really the kind of thing that they could have gone way too far with, and they could have, produced like HDR, fake HDR, looking images. Like the results could have been really garish. But from what I can see so far, it seems to do a pretty tasteful, a pretty decent job of, lifting the light in a way that looks natural. Now let's try the next option. Let's try Balance Color. Let's see what it does. Yeah, I feel like the colors look pretty nice. Not only does the lighting change look nice, but I like the way, oh, and now we have to wait. Okay, there. It is a little bit slow. And it also gets a little slow when you zoom in and out, unfortunately. So I just zoomed out. Now we have to wait for it to basically redraw everything and, reapply everything it did before. So that could certainly be improved. Anyway, I think the right way to think about this tool, the balance color tool, is not as a color grading tool. That's really not what it's designed for. This is purely a color balancing tool, a corrective tool, a technical tool to help remove some of the color cast in the image and bring the colors in your image closer together so that if you want to do additional color grading, well, you can use this as a baseline, in whatever application you happen to be using. The only problem though, and this is the big thing that I mentioned earlier, the big limitation of V2, at least at the time of this video, this will likely be fixed, I would imagine, pretty quickly in the weeks or months to come, is that the new adjust lighting and balance color tools, which are currently in beta, are not currently compatible with raw DNG files. By the time you watch this, this may no longer be an issue, but right now you can only use these tools with TIFF images. Let's try this image here. This should be interesting because this is another image where we have some golden warm highlights and some cool blue shadows, and I can kind of guess what it's going to do, but let's check it out. So this is an image of mine from Alabama Hills out in California near Lone Pine. I should have used a lens hood. A rookie mistake over here. Not bad. That's the before, and that's the after. And this is a TIFF image again that we're editing here. The balance color tool removed some of the magenta in the shadows here. You see like all that magenta that's in there right now. It's definitely adding some orange color to the highlights. A little bit of blue back here in the background, in the mountains, in the eastern Sierras back there. That's actually not bad. That looks pretty good. This is another one from Alabama Hills. Let's see what it can do. And by the way, if you've never been there before, there are a number of these arches around the park there. I think there's, actually it's not a park. Alabama Hills is like BLM, Bureau of Land Management land. It's not a state park or national park. It's my favorite kind of place because there's very few rules there. A great place to go and do photography. I feel like it's a little too warm in these shadows. A little too much orange going on there. So let's bring this down to like, let's say 40, and then I'm going to drop the opacity in half. And let's see what that does. Yeah, that definitely looks a little more natural. That looks pretty good. You can also see, or at least I think I see, let's come up here and take a look at this. You can also see that it's revealing more detail in the highlights here by pulling those highlights down. For if we look at the before, see how the highlights are a little bit blown out there? And it's doing a good job of pulling those highlights down so that we're able to see more detail in this image. Now, to clarify, is this unique? Is this magical? Is this somehow different from what other image editors can do, like Lightroom, Capture One, Photo Lab, Luminar Neo? I mean, is this the kind of thing that you could only do using an app like this? No. I mean, as long as you know how to, adjust your shadows, make a tone curve adjustment, there's all these different tools that you can use in order to balance the tonality of your image, to bring down your highlights, to lift up your shadows and your dark tones and create a more pleasing, a more attractive image with better tonality. That, of course, is something you can use pretty much any raw photo editor for, so you don't necessarily have to use Photo AI. I feel like the target for this tool, first would be as a standalone app for people who are not using other editors and maybe they don't have the requisite technical skill to know how to do the things that I just described. They could use Photo AI and they could just, check the box and, flip the switch and the lighting in the image would be fixed in a way that looks presentable, in a way that looks professional and looks good, right? Like right out of the box. So that's helpful. I think this could also be a helpful tool for people who just want to get going with a photo edit. Like, they don't want to spend the time messing with the sliders and the tone curve and all that. They just want to, denoise the image, their raw file. They just want to denoise it. They just want to lift the lighting and get that balanced and good and create a good baseline and then make additional edits from there. But obviously that will require raw DNG file support for the new tools for advanced lighting and balanced color. So hopefully there will be an update to Photo AI V2 coming in the near future. So what I would recommend to you is download a free trial of Photo AI to see how it works for you and see how it works with your images, see what kind of results you get, because I feel like that's the best way to test these things out and to see how you like it and to see if it makes a qualitative difference with your photography. If you want to do that, there is a special link down below in the video description you may use to download a fully functional free trial of Photo AI for both macOS and Windows. If you purchase version 1 like I did, version 2 is a free upgrade to you, assuming that you purchased version 1 sometime within the past 12 months. If it's been over 12 months, well, you have to purchase an upgrade and then you get 12 months of upgrades from that point forward. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If it was helpful to you, please remember to give this video a thumbs up down below. I would appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you next time.